Hello, everyone, and welcome to SIIA Tech Chats. I'm Rihanna Collier, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Liz Pearce, who is the CEO of LiquidPlanner. If you're not familiar with LiquidPlanner, they provide a resource-driven predictive project management solution. So, Liz, thank you so much for joining us from Seattle today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, let's just jump right in. Project management, like any aspect of business today, is constantly evolving as our industry evolves and new technologies are being introduced. What are the top project management challenges today that we're facing?
Sure. I think, project management is kind of an age-old problem. I think the challenges with keeping on top of projects are growing as the pace of business accelerates. And so things are changing so quickly, whether it's priorities shifting within the organization, resources who may come on or off a team. I'm going to just try to make sure that doesn't happen again. Overall, people just can't keep up with what's going on in their business, and also have a plan that reflects that. So that's a big challenge. I would say also there's a challenge with kind of the need on one hand for really good data around your projects and what the team is doing. And then the tension with sometimes individuals on the team being reluctant to track their work, or they don't want to, they don't want to keep track of what they're doing. They don't want to log what they're doing. And so there's this dynamic tension between those two forces.
I see that. Now, you mentioned data, and of course, everything in today's B2B world is data-driven. Can you talk a little bit about how a data-driven approach to project management can improve efficiencies?
Yeah, I think of it kind of like the way you might think of your household budget, right? If you don't know where you're spending your money, you don't know where the waste is or where the opportunities are to save. And so really it does come down to doing that initial tracking and understanding where people are spending their time, in what activities, on what initiatives. And from there, you can typically spot trends or opportunities for improving efficiency within the team. So for instance, if you find that your team is doing a lot of rework, you might want to change your process and go back and spend more time than you originally thought you needed on the planning or the iterations up front. So that's a big one. I think the other one is really about estimating and trying to get an understanding of the effort required to get the work done. And how does that compare to your capacity? And once you accept the constraints of your team and what you have to work with, then you can make better decisions about what you have people work on in the first place.
That makes sense. Now, not too long ago, you guys released LiquidPlanner Small Edition. How does that differ from your signature project management offering, and why was this an important part of your product roadmap?
Sure. So LiquidPlanner is kind of a power tool. A lot of our customers are using it to manage multiple complex concurrent projects that have a lot of uncertainty. And that's what we were really designed to do. And so we found over time that we were able to best support customers that really got all of their members on the platform. We're talking about teams of typically 10 or more people, oftentimes up to hundreds of people. And that's where we could really support them with the right training and onboarding and data architecture, things like that, to get them really in a great position to move forward. What we found over time was that even small teams, certain small teams, actually share that discipline and that need for predictability and scheduling. And most of the tools that are designed for smaller teams are more lightweight. They're more task management tools. They don't have really the resource management or scheduling functions that you find in a tool like LiquidPlanner. So we designed Small Team to be a somewhat streamed down version of our professional and enterprise editions that is designed for teams of up to 5 people. And these are teams that still want to track their time. They still want to schedule their resources out. They still want to collaborate, even though they only have a handful of people. And we're seeing a lot of teams, for instance, one signed up today that was in the architecture space and small firm, but really have a great need for predictability and when they're going to get things done. And so we're able to offer these customers more self-serve resources, more self-help type of options, and they're typically able to get up and running pretty much on their own, which allows us to set a price point that's more affordable for small teams.
And it's probably, now that we're in such a virtual world, we have a lot of small teams that work virtually. It's probably comes in extremely handy for them to be more efficient.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of small teams doing big things, and so that was kind of the idea behind the product. And we're finding folks are able to use the small team edition to get up and running, and then as their business grows, they might eventually upgrade to the professional edition that has things like analytics and reporting and dashboards that they need as their team expands.
Great. Now we talked about earlier, how project management techniques, methodologies continue, are constantly evolving and changing as the needs of the business change and the needs of the customers really change. Do you feel an agile approach to project management is important and will help companies better meet customer needs?
I think Agile has been a great shift for especially the technology industry and people writing software, for instance. It allows us to iterate, understand how people perceive the design and specifications of a product as it's being built, so we don't spend time, polishing screws that never should have been there in the first place. For other types of industries, manufacturing in particular is one we're seeing a lot of this in. They need more of a hybrid approach. So the old school way of waterfall, where you have big long phases that chain out one after another, can actually be combined with Agile to help customers understand what's going on in the design process and make adjustments early on, even when iterations are more expensive and they have that need for more kind of discipline and formality and governance over the work that's being done. So we're seeing a lot of people use a hybrid approach as well.
Well, Liz, thank you so much for your time and insights today. For more information on LiquidPlanner, please visit their website and stay tuned for next week's Tech Chat.